just for you said you drove a Citroen and there was a really good car but it helped you out because only the SS would drive the Citroen too, so they thought you were.
Yeah, they were all the Gestapo. The Gestapo had found that very. The French could not know who was coming.
Oh, that's why.
Because they were trying to get the French with that, and I was trying to get them with that.
Oh, so you both are driving Citroens.
Yeah.
So you would pass them on the road and just wave to them. And say,
I met some of them, but they cannot know you're in civilian. They were always in civilian. They were not. They were not in the military.
Gestapo. I got you. Yeah.
So they were in civilian clothes. I was in civilian clothes all the time. I was in civilian clothes. I was taking a jacket, even if I didn't need a jacket, depending where I was going, and they could not know if it was not. Even if I had men with me, they could not know if it was not. If I was not one of them.
Right. So you just passed.
But I have never been. On that respect, I have never had any problem. I met some of them. I met that full truck once, for example. I remember that very well. But that's it. I had no problem with that. No problem at all.
But you don't speak German. Have they tried? Did you speak German though? They tried to talk to you?
No, not at all.
Well.
And I was, when I read, when you read the internet, for once, I don't know why I went to Valençay, because the castle of Valençay, all the treasure of the Louvre were in the castle of Valençay.
What's the Valençay? It's like a cave or something? Or?
It's a beautiful castle of the Middle Ages. It's beautiful.
I didn't know that.
It's one of the big ones.
Oh, so the Germans took all the loot there?
No, the Germans never went into it.
Oh.
They didn't dare to go into it. I don't know. Don't ask me, I don't know.
Okay.
I was never asking any question. Never.
That's smart.
Because the rule was, the less you know, the less you can say.
Right.
If you were tortured or whatever it is by the Germans. So never ask any question.
Well, go back to the Valençay. You were talking about that.
Yeah, go back to Valençay. So I read in the year once, I went once, that, and I've been arrested by the Germans, and the German put a fire in one street and few things like that, and the Wikipedia or whatever said that 3 companies of fire people, fire people came from this town, and this town. That's completely stupid, because number one, there were no fire company. The men were, or they were in the French army and they were prisoners, or they were in the Maquis when it was the debarkment, the Allied. So there was absolutely that they did not exist at all, those fire companies. And beside that, from 3 towns, how can you tell any one of those towns that you are under the German? You cannot. There is no telephone. There was no telephone. Absolutely no telephone, because the telephone was in the German's name and the German hand.
Oh, right.
So when we wanted to have something, it was like that most of the time. So how could 3 towns, not here, here, send fire equipped, fire people?
What was the fire for, though? What, they were setting fire to what? To the castle?
It was the SS Das Reich. The SS Das Reich, I was made prisoner by them that day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, the SS Das Reich was the Das Reich that put Oradour-sur-Glane. You know the story of Oradour-sur-Glane. They searched the village at 7 in the morning. They destroyed absolutely the whole village and killed every inhabitant. There is only 7 people who were not there.
In retaliation for like shooting a German or something? Okay.
So they killed Oradour-sur-Glane. You got in France, you met Oradour-sur-Glane on your TV, you will have the whole story on your
computer.
Yeah. You have, so that the same people, and I get the name of the commanding officer of that, Dickman, and it was the same people. 7 days later, I don't know, who were in Valençay and stopped me. I was going to Valençay with a new chief named by London, a new Frenchman, to try to put some order in the maquis, you know. That was completely stupid in my opinion, but so what. So I had to translate it, and I've been stopped by the German at that time and put in the middle of town for 2 hours in my car, for 2 hours. And there was a central street that they put a flag, that put fire. But you know, in France, it's not like here. Here, when you see a burn in a house like that, nothing remains. It's a paper house.
Yeah, it
In
goes
France,
fast.
they're all done with stones like that. So they stand. They are never falling apart like that, except if you really the bombs, you know, in London, whatever. Otherwise, when a house burns, just the inside of the house burn. Here you see just a little skeleton that remains. And so but the Duke of Valençay, and in Valençay there were all the treasure of the Louvre were in the basement of Valençay, and there were two men in charge of that: Le Roi Gourand, who was the director of the Museum of Man, and Van der Kem, who became the conservator of the Louvre, of Versailles. And at night, here is the main grill of the train, and there is, you know, and the castle is here, and there is a big hall, you know, with a big grill and all of that. And I was going there, I was going over the wall, I was coming here, I was knocking at Le Roi Gourand window. I was opening the window, I was jumping in.
To do what?
To go to the cellar
And
of the Duke and take some champagne that we were drinking together. So I was a very good friend of the two conservators, if you want. And one of them, Le Roi Gourand, told me, the Duke will give you his pass if you ask him. And I asked the Duke. And the pass was signed by von Stuppnagel. And Stuppnagel was the big commanding officer in France of all the German armies in France. Stuppnagel. Commanding all the armies in France. I had a pass signed by him. So when I was with my car here against the wall, and I swear to you, I thought of putting him, and because all the tanks, all the German. I say if I start fast enough, they will not have the time to shoot me.
Oh,
but
really?
but we had seen 9 men against the wall, going back to town with the German on my car. So I said no, if I do that,
I'll shoot them.
forget it. But so after 2 hours, I was fed up, and I went to see that commanding officer, commanding of the SS, Das Reich, and I said, sir, I am fed up. I am here since 2 hours. It's too much for me. I started to insult, not to insult, but to talk to him, you know, like that. Because they were, and you know, they were speaking German, but they were all speaking French. Because they were all, not all of them, but part of them were Alsatian people who were with the German army. They were for Germany instead of being for France. You know, Alsace was part. Those who were for France, those who were for Germany. So they were all more or less speaking French. So after 2 hours I was fed up, and I had my commanding officer, my new commanding officer in the car with me, and he was like that. He was not very brave, I should say. So I went to the officer who was in the middle of the street. I take my pass and I say, sir, it's enough, I'm fed up, I must go. I told him like that.
And he looked at you and said,
no, he took my pass. No, I swear to you, he took the pass of Stuppnagel. Stuppnagel. I said, sir, you don't know one thing. Yesterday, Hitler take off Mr. Stuppnagel.
oh, killed him
Yesterday.
or made him resign or fired him?
Yesterday, he told me. Yesterday, Trucknagel was shut out by Hitler. You don't know that. He told me that like that, huh?
Mhm.
But as it was signed by Stucknagel, he could not know what kind of connection I had to have such a thing, you know.
Right, right.
So he didn't want. So he didn't touch me. He said, "Sir,
But you could
here
go.
is your pass." He said,